शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। अथाश्वलायनो भगवन्तं परमेष्ठिनमुपसमेत्योवाच अधीहि भगवन्तं विद्यां वरिष्ठां सदा सद्भिः सेव्यमानां निगूढाम् यया चिरात् सर्वपापं व्यपोह्य परात् परं पुरुषं याति विद्वान् तस्मै स होवाच पितामहश्च श्रद्धा भक्ति ध्यान योगादवैः न कर्मणा न प्रजया धनेन त्यागेनैके अमृतत्वमानशुः परेण नाकं निहितं गुहायां विभ्राजते यद्यतयो विशन्ति वेदान्त विज्ञान सुनिश्चितार्थाः संन्यास योगाद्यतयः शुद्ध सत्त्वाः ते ब्रह्मलोकेषु परान्तकाले परामृतात् परिमुच्यन्ति सर्वे विविक्तदेशे च सुखासनस्थः शुचिः समग्रीव शिरः शरीरः अत्याश्रमस्थः सकलेन्द्रियाणि निरुध्य भक्त्या स्वगुरुं प्रणम्य हृत्पुण्डरीकं विरजं विशुद्धं विचिन्त्य मध्ये विशदं विशोकम् अचिन्त्यमव्यक्तमनन्तरूपं शिवं प्रशान्तममृतं ब्रह्मयोनिम् तथादिमध्यान्तविहीनमेकं विभुं चिदानन्दमरूपमद्भुतम् उमासहायं परमेश्वरं प्रभुं त्रिलोचनं नीलकण्ठं प्रशान्तम् ध्यात्वा मुनिर्गच्छति भूतयोनिं समस्तसाक्षिं तमसः परस्तात् स ब्रह्मा स शिवः सेन्द्रः सोऽक्षरः परमस्वराट् स एव विष्णुः स प्राणः स कालोऽग्निः स चन्द्रमाः स एव सर्वं यद्भूतं यच्च भव्यं सनातनम् ज्ञात्वा तं मृत्युमत्येति नान्यः पन्था विमुक्तये सर्वभूतस्थमात्मानं सर्वभूतानि चात्मनि सम्पश्यन् ब्रह्म परमं याति नान्येन हेतुना।
We'll chant mantra 2 twice.
तस्मै स होवाच पितामहश्च श्रद्धा भक्ति ध्यान योगादवैः न कर्मणा न प्रजया धनेन त्यागेनैके अमृतत्वमानशुः तस्मै स होवाच पितामहश्च श्रद्धा भक्ति ध्यान योगादवैः न कर्मणा न प्रजया धनेन त्यागेनैके अमृतत्वमानशुः।
To him verily Lord Brahma said, know that by the yoga of Shraddha, Faith, Bhakti, Devotion and Dhyana meditation, Not by activity, nor by progeny, by renunciation of wealth, some attained immortality. To him refers to such a well-prepared student, Ashvalayana, who has surrendered to the master and asked a question. If you remember, the question was about teaching the Brahma Vidya to him. To him, Pitamaha, the grandsire, Lord Brahma said, know that by Shraddha, Bhakti and Dhyana, Shraddha, Bhakti, Dhyana Yoga, Davaihi, very famous statement. These three words should actually inspire us. Shraddha, Bhakti, Dhyana Yoga, Davaihi. He asked, teach me Brahma Vidya. The answer is know that. Know that by Shraddha, Bhakti and Dhyana. So we were talking about Shraddha in the last class. Shraddha is translated as faith, but faith is relatively a superficial meaning as far as the word Shraddha is concerned. Shraddha has a deeper meaning. Shraddha begins with faith. So we said there are two definitions of faith that we must contemplate on. The first definition is of Joel Goldsmith. He says, faith is a belief in a thing which I do not know until I come to know what I believe in. And second is the definition of Rabindranath Tagore, who says, faith is the bird that feels the light and sings while the dawn is still dark. So the first definition of Shraddha, first definition of faith tells us that faith is always in unknown. Remember this. Faith is always in unknown. The moment you know something, faith has already converted itself into knowledge. So the moment you know something, there is no question of faith. You say that, how do I go to Park Circus from here? You can say that you go outside in the main road, take a left, and in about 1 kilometer or so, 1 or 2 kilometers, you will reach Park Circus. Are you sure? Yes, I am sure, I know it. Do you believe? There is no question of belief here, because I know it. What you know, you don't say there is a faith or belief in it. So what the definition says is, faith is a belief in a thing which I do not know. Obviously, it is a belief in a thing which I do not know until I come to know what I believe in. Therefore, till the point I reach it, till I actually know it, till that point some faith is there. So we gave the example of a car moving towards Bombay. For the first time, if you are going, you have heard from somebody or you have a map and you are going along the path, and you are confident that it is in the right path because you see the milestones and all receding, you have various other landmarks along the way. So you are confident now that you are on the right path. But still, does this road reach Bombay? You will know only when you reach Bombay. But what happens along the way? The faith is actually increasing, isn't it? When you are on the right path and the right indications are there, the faith is increasing, but it's still a faith. Now you are so confident that it will. So once a person has sat on the plane, you are so sure that it is going to Delhi. Every boarding pass is issued and you know this is the flight. Everything is, all the preparations are done. Once you are going to sit there, you are so sure it is going to reach, but it's still underlying that faith is there. It is going to reach. So the first definition covers the point that you have to have faith till the very end. Till the very end, the Shraddha is there. Faith is there. Second is, Rabindranath Tagore's definition says, it is a bird that feels the light and sings while the dawn is still dark. This faith definitely is not a blind faith. This is the crux. Blind faith is against spirituality. Or rather, blind faith and spirituality don't go together. In the Krishna Leela, when Krishna goes from Mathura to Vrindavan, along the way there are various Leelas, but when he goes from Mathura to Vrindavan, two samhara happen, two killing. He destroys two asuras. One is, I think, Dhenukasura, another is Bakasura. Bakasura is in the form of a crane and Dhenukasura is in the form of a calf. Vrindavanam is the land of Bhakti. When and as a 5-year-old child, he goes there to show that every child has to be initiated into bhakti because the mind develops first. When it is initiated into bhakti, two main obstacles has to be removed. The Bakasura or the Asura in the form of a crane represents Damba. Damba means ostentation. Ostentation means showing off. Showing off and bhakti don't go together. That is why even as we celebrate festivals like Durga Puja and Kali Puja, and definitely there is a social aspect to it, festivity, celebration, everything is part of it, but we must not miss the bhakti part of it. It is just not showing off as how much big pandal or how much collection is done. All those that should not replace or be a substitute for the core aspect of the festival, which is bhakti. So ostentation is opposed to bhakti. Second is blind faith is opposed to bhakti. That is the representation of the calf. Don't ask me the symbolism, but this is how it is explained. Blind faith is a faith without any basis or reason. When we say Shraddha is not based on any blind faith. Shraddha is a faith based on the Guru's words and scriptures. And scripture's words stand on its own authority. It is so scientific and reasonable. And not only that, it has also come from the Guru Parampara, which has stood the test of time. So it is not that we are asking somebody to blindly believe in Bhagavad Gita as a book that you pick it up for the first time. And let us be clear, Bhagavad Gita or any book may not require the credentials or endorsement of any great person. But all great persons in all fields, for not to talk about the great rishis and acharyas also, they have all at various points of time studied Gita and got inspiration by it, which is very visible in their works also. Therefore, the faith in Bhagavad Gita is based on such a thing. So it is not a blind faith. Blind faith is something like this. An email comes of Lord Venkateshwara of Tirupati and you pass it on to 10 persons and then luck will be there. Otherwise you will suffer a loss. All of us have some 10 or 100 emails. Therefore, we don't want to take risk and pass it off. Lord Venkateshwara's value is not based on the 10 paisa email or the SMS. Earlier it used to be letter. With difficulty people used to take Xerox and post the letters. Now it is easy. With a click of a button you can pass on. What you must do when the email comes like that, you have to first immediately delete it. That is bhakti actually, I would say. If such an email comes, his value is not based on that. On what basis? Who started this? Maybe some mobile company started this. They will get revenue. If you send, everybody sends 100 SMS or 10 SMS, they are going to get revenue, nothing else. So, this has no basis on what any scripture or anything sanctions that, or any great master told this. Rather, this is a way to find out who a great master is. If any master or any guru says this is the way, then you know what the caliber of that person is. This is all blind faith. There is no basis. There is no reason or logic behind it. We understand that the faith is in the area of ignorance. That is understood. You may not know fully, but there are some known facts which will sort of lead to that. That is why Rabindranath Tagore says, it is a bird that feels the light and sings while the dawn is still dark. Suppose if you ask for sure, do you know sun is going to come? It may not be able to answer you, but internally it feels that. This sort of a reassuring faith is called as real faith. That is the part that Shraddha is going to play. So faith by definition is blind as far as the Western philosophy or the faiths are concerned. That's why they say, what faith you belong to. Christianity or Islam or whatever, that is a faith. And the tenet that is given there, that suppose Prophet Muhammad is the last prophet chosen by the God to whom the knowledge is to be revealed, etc. On what basis? In last class we said, Bible says that Jesus is the only Son of God. And so Jesus' proof rests on Bible. Bible's proof rests on Jesus' words. So it's reasoning in circles, says A.E. Mander in clearer thinking. So there is no real basis for faith. What with reference to our Shraddha is saying that you have faith in the scriptures, unquestionable faith in the scriptures. But then this also seems to be like a blind faith, but it is not so. What is the difference here? Now, In the scriptures, various aspects of sadhana are given. You start practicing them. You begin to see results even here as you go along. Then you know, as I said, the belief or Shraddha in the unknown aspect actually increases. So therefore, Vedantic scriptures are to be taken in as experimental religion. The results that are going to be shown, even when we talk about concentration, consistency, attain success, etc., we talk it about in terms of practical Vedanta. So therefore, how to improve the strength of your intellect, how to control the mind, how to control the anger, these are all verifiable even in this world. So even as you take the words of Gita or any other scripture for the matter with faith, you can try, practice it and sort of prove it. So therefore, these are all called as verifiable faith. Certain things are unverifiable faith. Suppose you say there is only one Janma. After, if you are a true Christian, you will be on the right side of Jesus and you will be in eternal heaven, and then you go from salvation. These are not verifiable, etc. So therefore, the second definition of faith talks about the faith being not a blind faith. The first definition talks about the faith being there till the end, that you convert it into knowledge. Therefore, what is Shraddha? Shraddha is a deep faith, a unquestionable faith in the words of the Guru and the scriptures. The true Guru is going to only talk the scriptures. He is not going to talk something that scriptures have not spoken of. The greatest of probably the Vedantic philosopher Adi Shankaracharya, with all his original works, only concludes everything by saying iti shrutehe. This is what is given in Shruti, this is what is given in Upanishad, this is what is given in Gita. So such is the greatness of these masters. So therefore, the true Guru is not, even if the truth is revealed to him and he says, he always connects it to Shruti or the Vedas or the Vedantic literature, because that is what is an independent authority by itself. They place the authority on the scriptures, and that is like a science, it stands on its own authority. Science is not sanctioned by the great scientists alone. It is not their words that gives any weightage to science, but the experiments of science gives weightage to science. Like that, Vedantic scripture is a collection of revelation to various rishis, various masters at various stages, and they also don't claim authorship over that. It is all revealed to through them in the state of self-consciousness or absorption. So therefore, that unquestionable faith in the scriptures is the Shraddha. So then what happens? Then you go along with it, think about it, contemplate about it, and you go till the very end to bring about a change in your system. Therefore, Swamiji says always, faith most people have, Shraddha very few people have, very, very few. So faith is whoever attends the lectures, whoever, generally people in this country have faith in Mahabharata, Ramayana, Bhagavad Gita, everything they have faith. But it is not, again, we need not even put it as blind faith or anything, generally they have faith. But Shraddha is to take up the essence of knowledge from that and try to convert it into knowledge. That means you have to absorb it, contemplate and go till the very end of the path. This is called as Shraddha. This Shraddha, we said, is there in two stages. The first stage is when a person enters into spiritual path, where all the qualities are given. What is the quality of a seeker that is given? Which is a preparatory stage for entering into Prakarana Granthas and Bhagavad Gita and Upanishads. He is talking about Viveka, Vairagya, etc. In that Shat Sampati comes. Shat Sampati is the wealth of 6 qualities. In that Shraddha comes. So Shraddha there means a person who is launching on the spiritual path obviously has a faith. He has the faith, let us say, in the Guru that he has surrendered to. He has the faith in the scripture and the Bhagavad Gita or whatever he is studying, to that book he has surrendered to. So this Shraddha is very important. Even if you are asked to contemplate on the verses based on the explanation given, if you are not able to understand, you don't say Krishna has made a mistake in this particular verse. You don't say. We say that we don't understand. So therefore that is the faith, that this is the saying something, let me try and understand it, let me take the help of commentary, let me take the explanation of a great master. This is how we should approach it. So this is faith at one level, and to develop this faith itself is difficult. When we say develop this faith, I am talking about Shraddha, to launch onto it and get hold onto it and walk the path. But more difficult than this is the Shraddha that is required at a later level. Now a person who has no clue about this, he then goes into Shravana, Manana, Nitidhyasana, this process he has been initiated into. So therefore he listens to the lectures from the Guru, he reads the books, and then he starts contemplating on it. He is now getting the meaning of it. Slowly he starts even applying in his life. He sees results also. Therefore his faith is increasing. He is walking along the path. All this is fine. And then he gets into subtler concepts of Vedanta. This is very exhilarating study. It is very, very interesting as we get into it. And then now you are so sure and so convinced about the knowledge that is given here and the path that you have to take. The proportion of karma, bhakti, jnana, all the yogas that we need to do, etc. Then later in the path, a stage comes where you no more have doubt as to what the validity of scripture is. You are so sure of the concepts at the intellectual level. You are actually very convinced about the utility of this knowledge, and you have seen the results for yourself up to a certain extent. But then you are stuck up at one level where you are not able to further go towards the truth, and you feel a little lost there. This is a stage where Swamiji says every spiritual aspirant has to go through. A stage will come. The perfect example here is that of the person described in the Plato's metaphor. In the Plato's metaphor, he is talking about a community of people living in a deep cave which is unexplored for a long time by anybody outside. But one community is living there. It's a grand imagination, that's all. Just imagine this. Very deep cave, maybe let's say 2 kilometers long. So therefore there's no chance of any light going inside. And there is a community which is living there by itself for generations. They are in utter darkness all the time. Maybe they have some source of light and they play with the shadows, he says. That's all is the entertainment. It's like a very, very sort of filthy life that they are living there. And nobody has known where they are staying is a cave or not, or whether there is a way out. Nobody knows about it. One fine day, a young boy asks the persons there that there must be something, let us go and see. There must be something outside, or is there something called outside, let us explore. He is saying, to which all the elders shut him up by saying that your father, your grandfather, all the generations they have lived here like this. What are you suddenly inquiring about something new? And they curb his enthusiasm, and that is the end of it. But there is some lurking inquisitiveness in him. So therefore one day, without telling anybody, he just starts walking into the darkness on the side where he believes that there is some opening. He walks and walks now, and you have to imagine this. First time somebody is walking, he has no clue, and he has to maybe touch the side of the wall and slowly walk. What is ahead, what is behind, he doesn't know anything, and there is no light also, nothing he knows. Now he is completely cut off from his society, his family, his society, everything is cut off. But he has not seen the mouth of the cave. He has not seen anything, and he doesn't know what is in store. So at that point a feeling comes, where am I, what am I doing? Because I am neither here nor there is any establishment in the truth there. So that is a very critical phase where you do not know, where you are doubting whether you have committed a mistake. That sort of a question may arise. At that point of time, something prompts him to say, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, you will find something. So with that type of a extreme faith, he goes ahead, and again after some journey, he is now able to see a small spot of light, which is the mouth of the cave. Now he is getting confidence and he walks and comes outside, which is a completely a beautiful new world. So what he is seeing and what he has experienced inside has no connection at all. Here is light, here is greenery, here is flora, fauna, everything which has no connection to whatever he was living. Therefore he revels in that experience. Let us say he is staying outside for a few days or months, and completely now he knows this is where he belongs to, but he is concerned about his folks living inside, so he wants to bring them and show them this world also. So he now goes inside and then talks about his experience to others, and they are fully convinced that this person is mad. They probably didn't even notice whether he is not there or there, and now he is coming and blabbering something. So they are totally convinced that he is completely out of his mind. And this person knows his experience. He cannot convey it to them. Actually, this is the plight of the great masters, says Swamiji again and again. What they are experiencing and what we are going through, there is no connection. What they are trying to say, we are not able to understand, and we brand them mad. We brand them, they are abnormal persons. So, but he is not angry because he knows the truth. He is patiently waiting till one day another young person says, I believe in you, let us go. So now he is confident. So he is able to lead that person, and he is explaining the path along the way. And sooner or later, whatever be the time, they are reaching outside. And that person is again thrilled. At the end of it all, he says, now my job is over, that I have brought one person from inside to outside. After your joyful experience here, you have to go inside and bring one more person. That is your debt. That's called, that's your rina. That's called Rishi Rina. So in this episode, the life inside the cave is our life. Inside the darkness of this world, Andam Tamaha, says Isha Vasya, that type of a blinding darkness that a person is living in. He doesn't know, it's all dead end in every pursuit there. One person who gets this inquiry, he is pursuing this. As he is going along the path, the relevant portion that we want to say here is that once you are sure, you are confident of the path and going, but there will be a doubt when you are completely cut off from where you are, meaning in a herd instinct that you are living, you are not given that comfort, but you are not fully established in the truth there. So a lurking doubt will come, we do not know how long it will last, etc. But the Shraddha that is required there at that stage is little more high, because now you don't have any doubt about the knowledge. You don't have any problem with intellectually understanding anything. It is just that how Swami Ramatirtha used to wait in the Himalayan glaciers, waiting for as such the marriage with Brahman to happen. That sort of a pause, that sort of a waiting. It is sure to happen, but you are so anxious, so eager that you do not know. That sort of a pause. Again in parallel, the state of Sita in Ashokavana. She is removed from Rama, that is the individual self, removed from the Brahman, and now she is not indulging in the materiality and sensuality of Ravana. She is doing tapas there. That is why she is in Ashoka. That means non-sorrow stage in the world, which is coming interestingly in the next verse. It's coming next mantra. At that point of time, she becomes desperate. She is not sure whether Rama is searching for her or Rama has left her. And there is also sort of a limit with which, when all the Rakshasis and around are constantly poking her, and Ravana is there coming and speaking to her again, and still she is a woman of great substance. She is the avatar of Jagannatha herself, but she is showing how the individual goes through as a tapas. But a point comes where she is so desperate that she is contemplating committing suicide. At that critical moment, somebody from the tree above narrates Ramayana. That is Hanuman who has come there. He is seeing all these things. He sees that Ravana is coming and talking for the last time and going. and giving her ultimatum, and then out of desperation she is going to take this extreme step. And as we said in the last class, Hanuman knows exactly what to convey to whom at that point of time. He talks about Rama's glory, and suddenly she is there. Now, that ring that Hanuman gives to Sita is the assurance that don't worry, Brahman is there. So a person who is actually earnestly pursuing this path, he will get the answer from the Lord as it were. But what keeps that thing going at that point of time is called as Shraddha. That faith. So therefore what we are actually placing faith in fleeting things in the world. I believe that person, I didn't know he will cheat him. All these things we are saying that. But we need to have faith on that person which is firm. That person who is firm is that ultimate Brahman, that reality. So the Shraddha, that is, he is talking about the Shraddha in the ultimate way. It is not that Shraddha and this Shraddha is different, it's the same. But we are talking about the intensity of Shraddha at a later stage. So that is called as Shraddha. So that is why throughout Gita, at various places, wherever even key messages are given, immediately Krishna follows it up with a verse on Shraddha. 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 After saying Tattvamasi in Chandogya Upanishad, I think the father tells Shweta, who is that person? Shwetaketu, right? Shwetaketu is the student to whom this Tattvamasi statement is given. After saying all that with examples and everything, then he says Shraddhasva, have faith in what I say, have faith in what I say. You know, this Shraddha is what is going to take you through. So Shraddha is the basis of the spiritual journey here. Shraddha, and that Shraddha, if you feel there is a lack in Shraddha at any point of time, keep the mumukshatva burning in you. So that is the key. Mumukshatva means that burning desire to liberate yourself. That must be the key. Once that mumukshatva is burning, your faith will not go. It will not go. That will be always there. You know, even if the whole world has turned against you, there is some conspiracy, there is somebody who is there within you who will not leave you at any point of time. Just talk to him. You know, that's sort of a personal, intense relationship with that entity, that faith, that is called a Shraddha. That you will know, that you can understand. You may not be able to explain to others, but that intense faith that keeps it going, that is called as Shraddha. This Shraddha is the basis for Bhakti. Shraddha and Bhakti should always go together. Nowadays in the world you will find actually, compared to even 30 years back and now, Bhakti has only increased. Bhakti has not decreased. But what is lacking is that Bhakti backed by the Shraddha. See, a person who goes to temple and prays for money or prays for any other emotional solace is also a Bhakta. Whether we accept it or not, God has accepted. Chaturvida bhajante mam, says Krishna. He says they are my Bhaktas. He is very large hearted. But that Bhakti really takes us nowhere, and it may help us achieve certain things in the world. That's about all. Which is actually devaluing Bhakti. Bhakti is with which you can achieve the ultimate. But if you say, I got a diamond, I exchange it for a few kilograms of a vegetable, you don't know the value of the diamond. So these people are actually exchanging Bhakti for something else. So that Bhakti with Shraddha is the actual Bhakti. Karma, Bhakti and Jnana are the three major paths that always Vedantic scriptures talk about, and nowadays if you see in any lecture, Swamiji brings about these three towards the end of the lecture, because this is the key as far as spirituality is concerned. Otherwise, first thing we need to learn about is mind, intellect, attachment and detachment. That's what he emphasizes. Last few years, if you see any lecture, more or less, he will come and harp on this point only. Karma is based on dharma. Bhakti is based on Shraddha. Jnana is based on Vairagya. If without a dispassion we attend class, ask questions, but at the end of the day we are that may be even more dangerous than a person who doesn't pursue Jnana. Jnana and Vairagya should go together. Shraddha and Bhakti should go together. And Karma is a dharma based karma. Otherwise everybody in the world works. Everybody does karma. There is no lack of karma. But what type of karma that we are doing? It is a dharmic karma. That's what is important. So what is bhakti here? Bhakti is the feeling of oneness with the divinity. This feeling of oneness is also called as love. In fact, love and devotion are not different from each other. They are the same. We use the words in different contexts, that's all. Love is the feeling of oneness when you use that feeling to identify with somebody at your level or lower level. Love your partner or love your dog or love your furniture, all these children, these are all love. But you say you are devoted to parents or devoted to Guru, devoted to God, which is at the higher level. So the feeling or the emotion is the same. So bhakti is that which unites the devotee and the God. That unity comes based on the feeling of oneness. Every other emotion actually distances one person from the other person. In fact, emotion can come only when there is duality. Let us be clear on that. When you say, I feel for the other person, it can be a feeling of gratitude, it can be a feeling of jealousy, it can be a feeling of love or anger or any feeling for that matter. There is two entities there. When these two entities are bound into one, or rather when the distance between them decreases, it is possible only when there is an intensity of identification between them. That feeling is called as love. In other words, love is one feeling which sort of closes the gap between the lover and the beloved. Every other emotion, it increases the distance. When you say anger, when you say jealousy, he is different, I am different, and this emotion actually makes it even further. Now this love, true love, which is universal, which is devoid of any selfishness in it, the source of it is Atma only. So where it comes from is the deep recesses of your personality, which is the self, which is the God in you. That is why Taittiriya Upanishad says the Swarupa of God itself is love only. Tasya priyameva sharaha modo uttara pakshaha pramodo dakshina pakshaha ananda atma brahma puchcham pratishta. Says in that 5 kosha differentiation, in the last kosha, Ananda kosha says his head is priyam. Priyam is love. Ishvara, the supreme Lord, he is the Swarupa of love only. That which flows from your Atma and ultimately reaches the Atma of the other person. Therefore, there is no duality there. That breaking away of all the personalities of body, mind and intellect and uniting this Atma and that Atma into one, that feeling is called as love. That feeling is called as devotion. Now this is, theoretically we can explain like this, but it is rather difficult to love another person. Tomorrow's Christmas is there, and one statement is attributed to Jesus Christ. Love thy neighbor as yourself. Rather, that is the most difficult thing. That's why probably I said neighbor. Otherwise you would have said, even a stranger probably you can try and develop a love. Neighbor is very difficult. Probably that's why he asked us to love a neighbor. It is very, very difficult. How can suddenly you say, from now on I am going to love one more person? It is not possible like that. Tomorrow onwards I will increase 2 persons into my circle of love every day. It doesn't happen, because emotion is a spontaneous feeling. Emotion cannot be tried and injected within you. It has to come by itself. That is called as feeling. That is called as emotion. So therefore, how does it come actually? Again, go from the known to the unknown. How does a mother love the child? This type of emotion is quite universal. We see it in animals also. Very interesting. It is actually this type of love which sustains the functioning of the universe itself. we can say, even in the case of human being, we are not questioning the purity of mother's love. But let us say if there is a way by which the son or daughter will grow and take care of the parents, and based on which the emotions are transacted. On what basis do animals show emotions to their young ones? They don't have this type of a system. Once a dog grows, a pup grows into a dog as an adult, it is distant from the family. And yet, a dog takes care of its young one, the bird takes care of its young one. Without this feeling of love, without this feeling, this world itself will not run. So therefore it is correct to say that it is sustained by this. Now why does that emotion come into that creature? Why it is natural like that? Because that which has come out of it, it feels the oneness with it automatically. That my son is myself only. It is not different from me. That my young one is me only. If my wife is me only. If that me and myself feeling is there, automatically in that circle your emotion seems to be functioning. But this circle seems to be ending at the level of me and my family. This is sort of like a natural and universal. Me and my family. This is where the natural circle seems to have a boundary. Beyond that, how do we expand this? That is where knowledge comes in. Unless otherwise, beyond the circle to go, unless otherwise you understand that I and somebody else is one and the same. If that understanding does not percolate strongly enough within our system, why will the feeling come? It will not come. So, feeling later is a product or effect of a intense understanding. That understand. So that is where Vedantic knowledge comes in. People ask, what is the practical use of Vedantic knowledge? This is the practical and the ultimate use. Vedanta finally says you and I are one and the same. At least, so therefore it goes in stages. At least we must feel one within this classroom. So if you are able to go towards the next circle, therefore what is to be identified with here is a common hook. The common hook here is all of us are Vedanta students. That is the hook. Therefore you start loving Vedanta. You start loving the Guru. If all of us have a particular Guru or a book, let's say, if you are able to have an intense feeling towards that, and then all others who are coming under that umbrella, you will be able to show that same uniform feeling, it will automatically come. So this oneness will come, feeling of oneness will come only when there is a understanding of oneness. So therefore to stretch ourselves beyond the circle of me and my family, which we can say up to an extent is natural, that everybody then keeps that as the boundary. So Swamiji gives a quote that your home must be the center of your affection, not the boundary of your affection. Start with home and let that love spread further. It has to. And that spreading further is possible only when we have a ideal, a goal, and that is enhanced by this taking in of this knowledge. So that feeling of oneness is called as Bhakti. So in the Abu Ben Adam poem, he says, there is one Abu Ben Adam and he sees an angel in his dream and it is writing a list of persons in a book. So excitingly he asks, what is the list that you are writing? The angel says, I am writing the names of all those people who love God. So he is asking, is my name one? It looks in the list and says your name is not there. He is not dejected, but cheerfully he says, okay, write my name as somebody who loves his fellow beings. Probably in some other list the angel wrote and vanished. Next day the angel came and now it had a different list. The list is the list of people whom God's love has blessed. So it is not enough that you love God. The question is if God loves you. So there is a list of people whom God's love has blessed. And in that list, Abu Ben name led the rest. His name was at the top. It's a wonderful poem. So that poem, Swamiji has interpreted it by saying, faith in good rather than faith in God is the ultimate bhakti. So, if we do not claim to have a universal feeling towards our fellow beings here, there is no question of love. There is no question of bhakti. That is why first quality of a bhakta in 12th chapter is given as Advaita Sarva Bhutanam. That's the first 35 qualities of bhakta are given. The first quality given is Advaita Sarva Bhutanam. There it is given in a negative sense. Negative sense means it doesn't say love all beings. It says no hatred towards any being. The strength of the chain is its weakest link. So you can say I claim to love everybody, but except let us say Muslims, or except a particular person, except my mother-in-law, I love everybody. Like that, if you say, that determines the strength of your love. So that cannot be any exception to prove that he says Advaita Sarva Bhutanam. Obviously, if you go through the qualities given in 12th chapter, it all applies to the Jnani Bhakta only in full extent. But that is the ideal. That is the ideal. So therefore, no hatred to any being is the quality of a bhakta. So this bhakti is actually oneness with God, feeling of that oneness with God. Now, in the initial stage of our sadhana, bhakti is Bahiranga. Bahiranga means externally we do various activities of bhakti. In the initial stage, our karma is more actually, because we are desire-ridden and we are extroverted. We have to do a lot of karma. Let us be clear on that. We are dealing with Upanishad and it is inspiring. We are talking about it from practical level. We have to do a lot of karma, but that karma is based on this knowledge, and bhakti also we have to do. But lot of karma we need to do. As a supplement to that karma, bhakti and jnana are done at a level with which you can be inspired about and you are capable. And this bhakti also involves expressive activities. Going to a temple is bhakti, going on a pilgrimage, singing bhajans in a way that you need to vigorously express yourself even in motion of the body. Everything is bhakti only. Therefore, you do all those activities which is inspirational for you in terms of bhakti. Doing a little puja at home, saying a Gayatri mantra, whatever means and ways of bhakti that has been followed in your family or followed in a way, or whatever inspires you, that you do. And particularly in this land of Bengal, where people are more considering themselves to be very highly intellectual, and it may not be their fault that various intellectual movements like Brahma Samaj and other thing came here. Even then, people don't worship murtis and idols. They are into Nirakar, Brahman, like that and all. Even if you are able to do, well and good. But otherwise, if a form inspires you, if a temple inspires you, do not worry about what others will say, or do not worry about others' opinion in any way. You do what is really inspirational for you. So we can say, as a general thing I am saying, 5 to 10 minutes at least, if you are able to do it with proper Shraddha, that itself is enough. That could be enough. But try to do it in a way that inspires you. But bhakti at a later stage becomes antaranga, meaning internal, absorbing in nature, when you have risen to a certain extent, where karma little bit drops off, and you are able and available for more sadhana at an inner level. The sadhana becomes more absorbing rather than expressing. There the bhakti and jnana is completely different. So what is bhakti there actually? Bhakti is nothing but awareness of the Supreme Self pulsating at every aspect of the world. So if a person is able to watch the universe and he must go into an inspiration or a awe, that is actually bhakti. Second chapter says, Gita, Ascharyavat Pashyati Kashchitenam. Somebody sees me of wonder. Somebody hears me about as wonder. Somebody experiences or talks me about wonder. But nobody knows what this wonder is. What is this wonder? When Swami Ramatirtha was asked in America, he proclaims with a great statement, Aham Brahmasmi, which is translated as I am God. So they were saying that if you are God, then show some miracles. This is their understanding. They said show some miracles. So Ramatita says, Jesus Christ is said to have done many miracles, but ultimately he ended up in cross. So I don't want to show miracles, he said. I don't want to show miracles. But he gave it as a very a jovial answer. But the main thing what he said was, don't you have eyes to open and see my miracles actually functioning? You know that there is a great sun with so much power and weight hanging there. It is giving vitality without which this earth cannot function. In between there is a moon which is positioned in such a way that it is not absorbed towards earth or the sun. In a perfect way it is set and the motion is set. Who is doing all these things? Isn't it a miracle if we just think about it? It has been functioning for ages like this, and without the sun and moon our life in this planet is not possible. And it's in a perfect weight and gravity and force and time, and everything is very well set without an inch here or there. It is so meticulously functioning. The solar system is functioning like that. Isn't it a miracle? We only have the eyes to open and see. It is just, when we say the eyes, what it means is our preoccupation with the world is so much that we don't have time to appreciate this. Forget about all those things. He says, Swamiji says, when you peel a banana, have you ever wondered that how beautifully it is packed? It can grow in a very dirty area also, but it is so pure as a fruit on the tree that you can open and eat it directly without washing or anything. It is so well packed. Any fruit for that matter. The coconut tree may be there where all the gutter and other waters can be there near the roots, but the dab that comes out of it is so pure that you can inject it directly into your blood. So much is packed very nicely. Isn't it a miracle? Now, if we are able to open our eyes and appreciate all these things, we may not know who has done all these things, but actually we are aware that these are things functioning in a perfect way. So if everything is functioning in a perfect way, you are able to see somebody whose hands, when you see the puppet functioning nicely, it cannot jump by itself. There is a beautiful hand which is coordinating all these things, and that hand is one person's hand only. Appreciating that with gratitude is called as bhakti. So take it even at the individual level, when your pressure inside and pressure outside are maintained properly within a limit, when your blood circulation, when your everything within you and without you, your eyes functioning, your alimentary canals functioning, your bones and muscles functioning, everything is meticulously done. Even if you try to do something wrong by eating wrong type of food, the system functions and throws it out. There's somebody who is benevolently doing all these things. Actually awareing that with gratitude is called as bhakti. So it is not that a person goes to temple and he genuinely prays, but he asks for something more. He is actually devaluing bhakti. It is not really, bhakti is not beggary to ask more. Because if you count all the blessings that you have been given, it is not million, not trillion, you cannot count it. It is actually infinite. So if a person who has been given infinite and if he says one more thing, he doesn't know what he is asking for. That person's relationship is completely different. So awareing this with gratitude is called as bhakti. And Swamiji says, if you drop that gratitude, it is pure jnanam. I am not going into that. It's a very beautiful thought. This spectacular functioning of the universe and microcosm, macrocosm, their interlinking and their mutual working, everything that you are able to aware, and you are able to feel that intense gratitude inside, with which you are able to feel that is actually the hallmark of true bhakti. And as your intensity of that awareness increases and increases, that I thank you, that I also goes away. You see, it is not to demean bhakti, it is to elevate bhakti into that state of pure jnanam. Then what is there with pure awareness is the jnanam. In that awareness, without ego, fitting yourself wherever you are supposed to be fitted in and just do what you ought to do, that is karma. So karma, bhakti, jnana, everything is revolved around this awareness only. So awareness of that supreme reality is bhakti, nothing short of it. Now what is the way to really practice it at this level? As I said, we must all practice at the level it inspires us. Do some puja, can do with flowers, fruits, whatever that puja you want to do, or temple you want to do, or do the karma itself with the attitude of devotion, that is also bhakti. But certain practices to keep your thought on God, whichever way it is inspirational for you, do it. There is no one rule to fit all. But there are certain traditional things given, Shravana, Manana, Kirtana, etc. That means listening to some Bhajans, Kirtan, Shloka, it's also bhakti. Manana is a form of bhakti. Kirtana, singing is a form of bhakti. Surrendering is bhakti. There are Navavida, nine types it is given. Prahlada explains that. Now, if we see this universe where everything is functioning very meticulously, very beautifully, when we see, let us say you see a butterfly, the two wings are so symmetrical. One dot doesn't go here or there as an inch. But that dot is not repeated in a second butterfly. But there also it's so symmetrical. It could be cheetah, it could be zebra. Everything is so perfect. The seasons, how they come and go is so perfect. Everything like that is, amazingly put. So therefore, you see that whoever has done this has a taste for perfection. And it cannot be any more perfect than that. Therefore, whatever you do, if you are trying to achieve perfection in that, that is bhakti. Swamiji said this in a lecture in academy. Some of you have gone there. Of course, now it is bigger. Earlier, it was built in a place where grasses used to grow more, and every monsoon we have to clear it, etc. So we had campus cleanups and other works to do that. We used to get together and do it. And at that point of time, once certain level of aesthetics and the landscape and everything got set, then he went on to we used to bring big boulders here and there, and Swamiji was so particular that it must be here, 3 must be there, 2 must be here, like that. And when we are lifting that big stones, he is saying, why is this person asking us to do all these things? Is there any real sense of it? What he was able to visualize, we were not able to visualize. Then in a class, in an informal way, he said, see, it is not that I want to somehow create some work for you and give it like this. I can even bring others to do it. I want you to understand that everything that has been created in this universe as it is in a perfect order. So whatever we try to create, whether it is even 1 inch here or there, if you are able to do to that perfection, you are in alignment with what has been already created. So therefore, your creation merges with the supreme creation as it were. That is actually devotion to God. So that is why in the qualities of Bhakta, another thing that is given is Daksha. Daksha is being perfect in everything. So even, see, when it can be that we bring out a souvenir or you write a book and you bind it. Each and everything you go to the minutest detail and make it perfect. Unless otherwise your devotion is there in it, it will not come. Otherwise you will do haphazardly. If somebody asks you to bind a book or send an email without any spacing or paragraph or alignment, and you do whatever you want to do, just because the work has to be done, it is a mechanical way of doing it. But when you put your heart and soul into it, that is when devotion comes there. So devotion is actually seeing the perfection in everything and trying to attain that perfection. Let us be clear, 100% perfection cannot be attained in the external world. There is always scope for improvement. In the Vedanta treatise, a statement is given attributed to David Starr Jordan. He says, the very nature of perfection is that it must appear imperfect. Very nature of perfection is that it must always appear imperfect. Think about it. Very, very profound statement. 100% perfection can be attained only within you, which is self-realization. But not getting fanatically attached to cleanliness or anything, that awareness of being imperfect, which will push us towards perfection, is actually being devoted to God. So when he talks about Shraddha and Bhakti here, this Bhakti is talking about that absolute awareness only. This awareness, in whichever way it is going to enter your system, where you are going to be, meaning it is a full-time awareness of God or reality. That is spirituality. That is Bhakti. That is God. Any spiritual sadhana for that matter. That practice, what you do, is Bhakti. And all the activities that you do, karma you do, jnana you do, dhyana you do, all other activities that we do, if it is not backed by this feeling of Bhakti, it really does not serve the purpose. So Bhakti is the basis of all activities itself. And particularly in the yuga that we are living, where the sadhana is given oriented more towards Bhakti, it says, catch hold of Bhakti, all other things will come. In Bhagavat, a symbolic story is given that a lady is very emaciated. She herself is very emaciated, skin and bone she is. She has 2 children who are not fed properly. And Narada is passing and he is asking, who are you? She gives her history. She says, I was born in Dravida Desha, then I became a little healthier in Karnataka, then I was culminating in Maharashtra like that, and then by which time I had attained old age, and then I became weak, and somehow some people brought me here. Here means in Uttar Pradesh, Mathura somewhere. She is talking about how the Bhakti movement is, that Bhagavad is talking about the Bhakti movement. That lady is nothing but Bhakti. Then he is asking, who are these 2 children? These 2 children are Jnana and Vairagya. They are also emaciated because the mother is emaciated. So he is inquiring and he is giving what is the solution, etc. The point that I am trying to make is, when the Bhakti becomes strong in you, automatically the children Jnana and Vairagya will be able to feed it. In the present circumstance, to take up to Jnana and Vairagya directly with all the yogic practices and all, given the state of our mind and state of desires and the yuga that we live in, the power of Kali, etc. that we say, it is rather difficult. There may be people, there may be few stalwarts who are able to do it, and our prostrations to them, we have to really, be inspired about them. But for most of us, catch hold of this Bhakti, and Jnana and Vairagya is bound to come along with us. So this aspect of Bhakti is what is probably meant here in Shraddha, Bhakti. Then comes Dhyana, which will take it up in the next class. Yes.
The faith of a self-realized person ultimately gets converted to Jnana.
The faith of the individual, when it ultimately gets converted into absolute Jnana, is self-realization. So that is absolute knowledge.
So that means a self-realized person will not have any faith.
Any faith. What is faith? Yes.
We are talking about the pair. Karma, Dharma. Then Bhakti, Shraddha. And Vairagya, Jnana. These are absolutely together in all, or they are interchangeable in all the throughout the road.
See, the thing is, Karma, Bhakti, Jnana, which are the 3 main right royal paths, are always mixed and practiced according to each one's capability and each one's percentage of personality, etc. But usually, what is the basis for karma? That we said is dharma. So dharma and karma will go together. Bhakti and Shraddha will go together. Jnana and Vairagya will go together. So that is the pairing that was given here. So it is the basis for our functioning. Yes, sir.
When a person like Sita got really shaken, obviously Sita deserved Hanuman and Lord's reign, so she got it. But at my level, obviously I don't deserve Hanuman or Lord's reign. And that when you are shaken, when your confidence gets shaken, and you start doubting a lot of things, and even that feeling of mumuksha also becomes a bit of a question mark, which we spoke about. So how does one sort out this kind of problem? How do you get a Hanuman or a...
We have to really, as I said, the Shraddha that comes at 2 levels. We are probably we have to worry about the Shraddha at the first level now, not to bother about that. When you are, he's talking about when you are alone in the path. Obviously, Sita will deserve. Hanuman, we always say, is a Sadguru who comes into your path and says that Brahman is there. Sita is the individual. That is the symbolism that is there. In the present state, what is the faith that it will be shaken? That suppose if your business fails and you lose faith in God or something like that, then?
No, even the path that you're walking on, I'm not talking about your day-to-day life, about your business or your family, but I'm talking about more deeper things when you actually start questioning that even in spirituality, are you doing the right things? Are you on the right path? So at times you do get shaken up. Even a person like Arjun got shaken up.
No. That's why I'm saying, as we are talking about our path now, don't bring in Arjuna or Sita here. The thing is, we need to work on the basis of developing our intellect. So the awareness that what we are talking about is we need to first of all do those things by which we become sort of a somewhat a self-control person. So you are talking about a basic level of intellect where you can control your emotions, control your anger and basic desires, etc. But you are not fully grown out of it, meaning we have not even reached the state of a renunciation, which is to grow above the worldly desires, etc. So at that level, what will reinforce faith is your power of intellect. So intellect and faith, the more you gain knowledge, more the faith will increase. More the faith increase, more you will gain knowledge. Like this the cycle will go. So therefore, at any point, if the faith gets shaken, you have to reinforce it with your understanding of law of karma. That is when you get established in Vedantic concepts now. So even a misfortune that is given to you is actually the blessing of the Lord. You understand all those through intellectual concepts and get yourself reaffirmed again and again. What we have to always remember is your faith cannot be reassured by somebody else, or you cannot take it out of your center. It has to be within you only. That has to be reinforced by strength of the intellect. Therefore, the first stage now that we need to get in deep into the concepts and understand that how this whole system functions. Even at the intellectual level, when you understand, that will tell the mind as and when it gets a doubt, as and when it deviates. So that is the reassuring faith of the intellect now. And that intellect is deriving the strength from the self only. So intellect connection to the self is through this knowledge. Through the knowledge, the intellect gets more and more strengthened inside. We'll conclude with the bhajans here.
Govinda Madhava Gopala Keshava Gopala Keshava Gopala Keshava. Poornam Adah Poornamidam Poornat Poornamudachyate Poornasya Poornamadaya Poornamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.